Hello everyone, welcome to our web technology series. Myself Nandita Shri. Today we are going to deep dive into jQuery, which is one of the most popular tools for web development. We will cover everything from the fundamentals to advanced animations and DOM manipulation. So let's get started. To understand where we are going, we first need to look at the JavaScript ecosystem. As you can see in this tree diagram, JavaScript is massive. It splits into libraries, package managers like NVM, and frameworks. So jQuery sits right here under front-end libraries alongside other famous names like React and Axios. So it is a foundational tool for building interactive websites. So what is jQuery? It is a lightweight JavaScript library with a famous motto, write less and do more. So its entire purpose is to simplify JavaScript programming. It wraps up complex tasks like manipulating HTML, handling events, and creating animations into single lines of code. So it also includes Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, which helps us get data from servers without loading the page. And why are we still talking about jQuery today? It remains one of the most popular and extendable libraries in the world. Tech giants like Google, Microsoft, IBM, and Netflix are still using it. One of its biggest selling point is that it handles cross-browser issues for you. So you write the code once and jQuery ensures it runs exactly the same on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge. A quick history lesson like jQuery was invented by John Racing in 2006. Despite being around for a while, it is still used by more than 59% of the most visited websites on the internet today. And it is a free and open source software. There are two ways to add jQuery to your projects. You can download the file from the jQuery.com and host it yourself. This is faster for offline development. And you can include it via a content delivery network, CDN, like Google. And this is great for live sites because many users will already have the file cached in their browser, making your site load faster. So this is the jQuery.com. From here you can download the latest version of jQuery. And you can add the jQuery file with the script tag. So whichever method you choose, you simply add a script tag inside the head section of your HTML. So this connects the library to your page. So now let's look at the syntax. It's very consistent like $selector.action. So it always starts with a dollar sign to access jQuery followed by a selector in parentheses to find an element and finally an action to perform on it. So for example, $this.hide. So this will hide all the current elements and $p.hide it hides all the paragraph elements and .test represents the class attribute and hash test represents the ID attributes. So those attributes with those elements will get hidden. And why we are using jQuery? As we know, it is simplifying the code. Like if we return in the JavaScript, there will be some more lines of code and it will be too big. And we can reduce it by using some kind of dollar symbols as well as jQuery is very less code to write. We can write the code as with jQuery syntax or with dollar syntax. And this is the most important piece of code you will write. So this is the document ready event, and it prevents your jQuery code from running before the website is finished loading. So if you try to hide a button that hasn't been drawn on the screen yet, your code will fail. So this wrapper ensures everything is ready before we start. jQuery selectors. So selectors are how we find and manipulate HTML elements. They are the most important part of the library. We use the dollar sign and parenthesis to select elements, very similar to how you select things in CSS. So first is the element selector, the dollar button dot click function. So here the element selector, the $P, selects all paragraph tags on the page. So in this example, when you click a button, every single paragraph on the page will disappear. So next is the ID selector that will be represented with the hash symbol. So this targets a single unique element that has ID. Like here, ID equal to test. So it will target that element, which is very precious and efficient to provide the output. And next is the class selector, which is represented by the dot symbol. So this will hide all elements that have class equal to test. So this is great for grouping elements together. And next is the universal selector that is represented with a star symbol. So if you want to go nuclear, you can use the universal selector, which is the asterisk, and this selects every single element on the entire page. And finally, the this selector. This is incredibly useful for interaction. It doesn't select all buttons. It selects only the specific button the user just clicked. So next is the jQuery event methods. So what are events? jQuery is tailor-made to respond to events. An event is the precise moment something happens, like a mouse click, a key press, or a form submission. So we categorize these into mouse events, keyboard events, form events, and document events. And these are the most common DOM events. So let's see some of those events. First is the click event. So the dot click method is the standard way to handle interaction. Here we attach a function to a paragraph tags. When a user clicks a paragraph, that specific paragraph hides itself. And next is the on method. You can also use the dot on method. So this is more versatile and is preferred in modern jQuery because it allows you to attach one or more event handlers to your selected elements easily. Let's look at keyboard events. As you can see here, we uses the dot key down function. So this fires the moment the key is pressed down. When the key is pressed, the background color is turned to yellow. And when the key is released, the background color is turned to pink. That is the keyup event that will occur when a keyboard key is released. So together, these create a visual flash effect as the user types. And we also have keypress. In this example, we have a counter variable I. So every time the user types a character, we increase I by 1 and displays it. So keypress is similar to keydown, but it does not detect special keys like Alt, Control or Shift. If you need to check for those, you must use keydown. Next is jQuery effects. So now for the visual flag, we will use some jQuery effects. So it provides a simple interface for doing various kinds of amazing effects. Like you can add some animations with very little code. The simplest ones are hide and show. You can simply attach these two buttons to make elements appear or vanish instantly. So as you can see on the code, we can make this fancier with the help of the callback function. So passed 2000 milliseconds. This makes the box shrink slowly over 2 seconds. And the callback. The second argument is a function that runs only after the animation is 100% finished. So this ensures the text element is hidden, appears only once the box is actually gone. Instead of two buttons, one for hide, one for show, we can use the toggle. So it intelligently switches between the two states automatically. And then fading effects. For the softer look, we can use the fading. So fade in and fade out are the straightforward and fade to is special. The zero point 0.5 tells jQuery to fade the element to 50% opacity. So it stays visible but becomes semi-transparent. And then sliding effects, that is slide up, down and toggle. So we also have this sliding because this is exactly what you see in drop down menus on websites. So it slides the element up to hide it or down to show it. If the built-in effects aren't enough, we can use some animation effect. So here we are moving a div with the 250 pixels to the right, and jQuery calculates all the frames in between to make it smooth. So you can animate almost any CSS property that has a number on it. Here we are animating the text size to grow to 3em. Note that you must use camel size for properties, so font size becomes that F is small and S is caps for the font size. So finally we have chaining. Instead of writing three separate lines of code, we connect them with dots. So jQuery creates a cube. First it turns the text red and then it slides up, then it slides down and it runs them one by one automatically. And to master jQuery, you need to understand traversing. Think of your HTML as a family tree. Elements have parents, which are at the top, and then children, and there will be siblings which are next to them. So first is the parent method that returns the direct parent element of the selected element. And parents, this method returns all ancestor elements of the selected element all the way up to the document's root element. And next is the parents until. This method returns all ancestor elements between two given arguments. So as we can see here, the parent selects the direct father or mother of the that elements. As section 4 selected the section 3, which is the parent of it. And parents, section 4 selects all the above of the sections like the parents of it. And parents until within the limit from B4 to B1, and within that all parents will get selected. And transversing down the DOM tree, that is children and find. This method returns all direct children of the selected element, and find method returns descendant elements of the selected element all the way down to the last descendant. So traversing down the DOM tree. So here dot children gets only the direct children, and dot find is deeper. It searches grandchildren and great grandchildren. So in this example, find li will turn every list item blue, no matter how deeply nested it is inside that list. Next is jQuery traversing filtering. So there are 5 types. First, lost, EQ, filter and not. First means the first element, the last means last element, and EQ that specific the index number. Those are the elements that will return the index number of the selected element. And filter. This method lets you specify a criteria. Elements that do not match the criteria are removed from the selection and those that match will be returned. So not method returns all elements that do not match the criteria. The not method is the opposite of filter. Sometimes you select too many things. I need to filter them down. So first grabs the first element. Last grabs the last. And EQ2 selects a specific element by its index number. Remember, computers start counting at 0. So 2 is actually the third item. And filter keeps only items that match your criteria, like containing the word apple. And dot not does the opposite. It removes items that match the criteria. So these tools give you total control over what elements you are affecting. So that brings us to the end of our complete jQuery module. We have covered installation, selectors, events, animation, and how to traverse the Devo entry. So with these tools, you can write cleaner, faster JavaScript. Thank you for watching.